Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I wanted to talk about something that I just read up on. I just read today about some interesting stuff going on at ESPN, more racial stuff, kind of popping off. It has to do with Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill worked at ESPN, and according to various news outlets, Jemele is going to be parting ways with ESPN. Now, this isn't going to make a lot of black people happy. Jemele was a pretty popular commentator on ESPN. One of the few women on there that really had a voice that people remembered. Unfortunately, they do have women at ESPN, but the women don't always have the same amount of say that they should have. Now, I personally believe ESPN has a bias toward white women. I remember when Stephen A. Smith offended white feminists. There was a white woman who actually went onto Twitter and attacked him on Twitter, and she worked with him, a white woman that worked with him. And the thing about that is that that's a violation of company policy. You're not allowed to go and attack another brand on the network if you work for ESPN. And rather than punishing this white woman, they actually didn't do a thing to her, and they punished Stephen A. for what the lady was complaining about. And so I don't know if ESPN has a gender bias per se. Usually when I look at the screen, there's usually a woman on screen. But I can say they certainly have a racial bias. They definitely have a racial bias, largely because even though they make a lot of money from black people, they don't really respect black people in terms of really caring about black issues. Like, for example, if a host says something that offends gay people, they would address that. If a host says something that offends the feminists, they would address that. If a host says something that offends black people, though, they would probably not do much about it. At least I haven't seen anything. Stephen A. offends black people every single day of the week, and they never address that. The only time they get on Stephen A. is when Stephen A. offends white people. But anyway, so Jemele Hill is out at ESPN. I'm looking at this story on Deadspin, and it says 1 week after new president Jimmy Pitaro articulated his bold vision for the future of ESPN, they said neuter it. I don't know what that is, bad grammar. Neuter it and lay submissively at the feet of Roger Goodell. Comes a report that Jemele Hill will be leaving the company later this week. Let's see here. So they said, according to James Miller, they said it's an amicable departure. It's a buyout. So they're paying Jemele to quit her job, which is pretty cool. That makes her better than most black people. Most black people don't get paid to quit your job. Usually they take your money on the way out the door. They take all your power and your self-esteem and your dignity at the same time. So you walking out empty pocket, empty soul, empty everything because you put your whole damn self-esteem, all your self-esteem hinged on having that motherfucking job, didn't it? You really thought you was somebody when that white man gave you that promotion. Now you find out that you just like the rest of us, and that all that stuff you thought was yours really wasn't yours, right? But anyway, let me keep going. So James Miller, according to Deadspin, it said James Miller describes the separation as amicable. Let's see, Sporting News says, quote, the former Sports Center anchor will accept the buyout of the remainder of her contract with the network, said sources. Hill's deal with ESPN still has at least 2 years to run, and she stands to walk away with millions of dollars. Well, then shit. I ain't feeling sorry for her. You got millions of dollars. You good. From ESPN's parent Disney. Let's see, while she pursues other career opportunities. So, I ain't sitting here crying for Jemele. My person who I've worked with before, Charlemagne actually brought that to my attention. I saw he mentioned it. Charlemagne the God, he mentioned it on his Twitter. And I thought it was an interesting topic. I didn't know that they had let her go. I thought they actually had let her go a long time ago. I didn't know that she was still there. But I think, for us in terms of what we're going to protest about, I'm not interested in marching, praying, and rallying, so that a multimillionaire Negro can keep her job. Like, seriously, like, you dance with the devil, then the devil's going to feel on your booty. You good with ESPN. They're paying you millions of dollars. I'm sure you work that out. Jemele Hill is going to be fine. Jemele Hill is going to get probably a better job somewhere else. Usually when people get into that stratosphere of media where they're up there in the upper echelons, they just move from one great job to another one, right? So it's not like she's going to be homeless on the side of the street. Even if nobody hires her, she's going to have millions of dollars. So Jemele Hill is good. Don't feel sorry for Jemele. There's nothing to be mad about. If you're gonna have a protest for that black person who lost their job and can't pay the rent. Protest for that person who's stuck in homeless. Protest for that person who could never get the job in the first place. Protest for all the black people ESPN never hired, right? That's what you got to remember too. Keep that in mind. Just think about that. I'm just saying that, as we decide to get all riled up and mad because of what ESPN did with Jemele Hill, I don't think even Jemele Hill feels sorry for Jemele Hill. I think Jemele Hill's like, well, bet, give me my millions. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to go get a job somewhere else. I'm going to go do something else, and I'm going to be straight. Now, with ESPN, what's interesting is, I kind of knew it was going to end like this, right? You know, Hill was getting real political. She was getting into the Trump stuff. She was getting into, you know, a lot of political issues that they didn't hire her to talk about. Now, mind you, do I think it's her right to say these things and talk about these things? Absolutely, do whatever you want. But I also think that you have to understand when you make these partnerships with your oppressor, like when you're lining up with your oppressor, asking your oppressor to give you your self-esteem, to give you your dignity, and to give you your opportunities, you're gonna have to pretty much follow the rules of that institution. Let's be clear, ESPN is a white supremacist institution. If you want to know how we know that, well, look at their organization, look at their boards, and look at who's really calling the shots at ESPN. Ain't no black people really calling those shots at ESPN, not for real, right? They use black people, like my homeboy worked at ESPN. I'm not gonna say his name, but he told me that the reason that you see all these black commentators during the day is because they realize that black men are obsessed with sports and many of them don't have jobs. So because we're obsessed with sports and we don't have jobs, we're the highest unemployment rate in America. They started putting black male anchors on ESPN's daily Sports Center shows because they knew that's what the brothers wanted to watch. So they're very, very good at making money from black people. And personally, y'all know how I feel. I love sports. I love it. Basketball and football are my main two sports. Also, I watch a little bit of golf when Tiger Woods is on or whatever. But you ain't never going to see me spending more time being obsessed with what another man's doing than what I'm doing or what I got going on in my family. Like, you'll never see me do that. Like, so I don't understand why a guy would spend all his time obsessing over, you know, the salary caps for the Dallas Cowboys and how good their offensive line is going to be when Jerry Jones still thinks you a nigga, when Jerry Jones ain't never going to pay no bills in your house. And like that doesn't make sense to me. And so I think black men in our obsession with sports, we take it a little bit too far. Like, for example, when you see more parents show up for the football informational session for Pee Wee football than you see showing up for the college informational session for how your child can go get an education, that means you got a serious problem. You got an addiction to all the unhealthy shit that's gonna kill you, that's gonna mess you up. Seriously, I mean, ain't hardly no black people making no money playing football. There's a couple, there's like 0.1%, like that top, you know, that one guy out of 1,000, and the other 999 sitting there broke. Like, man, I invested my whole life in football, and now football ain't gave me nothing. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't play football. Everybody, I mean, football's fun. I love football. I played it, but it was a game. It was a fucking game. It wasn't my life. My life is not a game. My life is real shit. You know, that was play shit. That was child shit. My life became real shit. So anyway, let's get back to Jemele Hill. Here's my deal with Jemele Hill. Look, you know, I don't understand. I mean, you know, one of the problems that you have, the reason you don't have any power as black people is because you're trying to get your power by going to the people who are trying to keep you powerless and asking them to hand you power. Meaning, you know, when you look at all these talented sports anchors that create these sports shows and want to go on ESPN and all that, like, look, we got a show, I got a show. Look at me, I'm the black person. I'm the Negro that ESPN selected for a show. I don't see anything there. I mean, Stephen A. Smith had a show with ESPN, and when they got tired of him, they cut the show off. It was, quite frankly, with Stephen A. Smith. I was on there 2 or 3 times. When they got tired of him, they got rid of him. They got rid of the show. They kept him, but they got rid of the show. Jemele and the other guy, they had a show. They were, you know, doing their hosting thing. But when they got tired of them, they pushed him out. So, you know, why aren't there more like black sports shows just like on YouTube? Why aren't there more black sports shows that, you know, you could just create? You could literally have a kick-ass, a dope-ass sports show with nobody controlling anything right there on YouTube. Like, there was I was talking to these young brothers that had a really good sports show that I loved watching. I watched this show. It was called Ortiz Brothers on Sports. And I said to them, I said, why did you stop doing your show? Oh, well, you know, we got distracted and the cameraman, we couldn't get the cameraman and blah, blah. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Like, this is better than ESPN. Like, why do you take white people's shit seriously, but you don't take your own shit seriously? Seriously, I'm not even dissing these guys. I know these guys. You know, I'm not trying to say anything negative, but I'm saying, like, why is it that when we doing shit for him, we all serious, all professional, showing up to work on time, dressed to the nines, articulate and shit, well prepared. But when it comes to your stuff, it's like, oh yeah, I used to do this stuff, and then I got distracted and I just kind of let it go. Well, that's why you ain't got nothing. That's why you ain't got no power. It's because whenever you start something, you let it go. But when he puts you on something, you own it. You keep it going. Institutions live as long as the founders of the institutions are committed to maintaining those institutions. So white supremacist institutions last because they got white people making sure that they continue, and they got black people making sure that they continue. Black institutions die because black people that start the institutions don't take them seriously, and they just let the shit go. They drop the shit. So if you want to, my opinion, I don't fucking watch ESPN unless I happen to be scrolling across them, or when I'm going down all the cable channels and I happen to see LeBron James dunking over somebody and I want to stop for a moment so I can enjoy the one particular highlight reel that has got my interest, and then I keep scrolling. I don't go to ESPN for my sports news. I would rather have black sports, online, like a black online, like a digital black YouTube channel that I can go to where Jemele Hill's like, today I'm going to give you the black version of sports. And why can't we have that? Oh, well, that's right, because white man got the money, and because his money's attached to his institutions, you think those institutions mean more than anything you could ever create. That's no difference from the way a mother might think that a grown adult person has more value than the baby that lives in her stomach. The baby that lives in your stomach seems like he's nothing. He's just an embryo. He doesn't seem real. But that baby, that person that's living and breathing, you think that that's actually a real person. So you look at institutions that are made by white people and you say, well, that's real. ESPN is real. That's real shit. But you look at your shit, the black people sports show, and you say, but that's not nothing serious. I mean, I don't really need to put no time into that, or I'll do that until ESPN calls me. And then what happens is ESPN doesn't want you, but you got to understand, ESPN started off as somebody's vision. Somebody just said, hey, why don't we have a 24-hour sports show and just do sports all the time, the world of sports? And it was nothing, like nobody watched it, and then they got people to watch it, and now it's a big thing. That's where institutions come from. I swear, it bothers me. It really bothers me when I see a black person that creates something really special, really amazing, and it's independent and it's theirs, but they let it go, or they're only doing it until white people call them, until white people come along. That's like breaking up with some horrible, evil person that used to beat your ass, but they were cute. They were cute, but they beat your ass. And you break up with them and you start dating a nice person. You date somebody that really loves you and you have a good, healthy relationship, but you're really just waiting for your ex to call you back. That happened to me one time. I swear to God, that happened to me one time. When I met this girl, I started dating her, and I knew she was still in love with her ex, and I was kind of okay with that, but I kind of wasn't. But I was like, okay, sure, I don't care. Let's go to dinner. Let's do whatever. So we started getting serious. We started really talking and hanging out and blah, blah, blah. And then one day she just disappeared for like a week. Disappeared for a week. And I was like, where'd you go? Like, you disappeared for a week. I called you. You weren't around. But you know what she was? She was out there messing with her ex. Like, her ex called her back and was like, hey, come on over. And she got with him. And then of course he did what he always did. He used her up. And then when he got done with her, he kicked her out. And then she gonna try to come back to me. And I said, hold up, wait a minute. You got me all fucked up right now. I am not the leftovers. I am not your old plan B. I'm not subordinated to this motherfucker. I don't know nothing about this guy. Maybe he has a solid gold dick with the Statue of Liberty attached to it and some fucking, $1 million diamonds on it. I don't know what the hell he got going on, but I am not your backup option. I am not something you go to when the man you want is not available. I said, so now guess what? You lost him and you lost me. Don't you lose my number. Do not call me again. And I kid you not, this girl spent years trying to get back, trying to apologize and explain everything. And I was like, no, it's all good. I'm not even mad at you. You just didn't see the value of what you had in front of you because you were still addicted to this other thing. And I understand that, but there's a consequence for bad choices. There's a price you must pay. The price you will pay is that you get to see me happy somewhere else, but I'm not going to be with you. So ultimately for black people, we got to stop looking at the black community as the fallback option, as the plan B. The plan B that I'm going to follow until white people call me. There was a young brother that came and interned with us a long time ago who was brilliant at sports. And I'm thinking about sports. This brother was brilliant at sports. And I wanted him to do like a sports show. I was like, do a sports show, man. Put it on YouTube. It'll be good. We'll work and build you up an audience. It's going to be dope. And we couldn't do anything because he kept getting distracted by these stupid little opportunities white people were throwing him. I'd be like, why would you want to do like this small town sports radio show where you got 4 people and a cow listening? Well, that's white supremacy. White supremacy makes you think that if it comes from white people, it must be better than if it comes from black people. Or if you're connected with the white community, then that's your ticket out. That's your path. That's your pathway to making it big. Well, ain't nothing big about being down with white folks. In fact, you ain't made it big. You have made it small. You have not taken a step up. You have taken a step down. You have not gone to a better place. You have gone to a worse place. Jemele Hill knows that. Jemele Hill, everybody's like black people. That's why the reason you can't defeat white people or compete with them is because you worship them. The reason you can't defeat white supremacy is because you are a big believer in the supremacy of white people. And you don't believe me? Here's evidence. When Jemele Hill got that job at ESPN, everybody acted like that's the greatest accomplishment a nigga could ever achieve, is being accepted by white folks. They hired her. Think about this, all they did was hire her. All they did was decide some white man got in a room and said, we need a black face to make up for the other black face we don't have. Oh, she looks good. Let's pick her. This Negro looks fine, mighty fine. So they picked her and put her on TV, propped her up, and you start worshiping and getting excited. Lord Jesus, hallelujah. We got a black person who's finally made it. What did she make it to? What are you making it to? What is it about your life now that is so wonderful, other than the fact that you're spending every day working for people who hate your guts? Is it the money? Okay, sure, bet. The money's good. Good for her. But if you can just be bought, then why don't you just become a full-time hoe instead of a part-time hoe? Hookers can be bought. Seriously. Drug addicts can be bought. So is that all it is? Is that the defining factor, is how much money it was? Because if you take away the money, there's nothing beneficial about Jemele Hill and her powerful spirit being confined to a white supremacist environment. There is nothing about being at ESPN that should make you ever congratulate Jemele or any of the other Negroes that are incarcerated by that network. There is nothing about being affiliated with ESPN that makes you a better black person. They do not want you to be a better black person. They're not going to encourage you to be a better black person. It is not even in their incentive to make you a better black person. And I don't blame them one motherfucking bit. I don't blame them one bit, because that's not their job. That is not their. Why would I, if I am a white man and I want to have power and I want the network to benefit me and the people I love, why in the world is it my job to help you come into my house and to become a better black person? That doesn't even make any sense. If I was a white man, I wouldn't do any of that. And I would have no respect for anybody who was looking to me to help make them a better black person. If I, as a white man, have the power to decide which black people will be worshipped and which black people will be ignored, I get to choose which black people will become black heroes and which black people are going to be the losers. That is the power of God. You're literally giving me the power of life and death, where I get to decide who wins and who loses. And all Negroes are like little pawns, my little chess pieces. I'm gonna move Jemele Hill over here, and then I'm gonna move Stephen A. Smith over there, and then I'm gonna win the game like this. And then I'm gonna divide and I'm gonna conquer them, because I'm gonna get these niggas fighting against each other, and that'll make for good TV. That's how they do you. You are a pawn on a chessboard, and there's never a game where the chess pieces can defeat the chess master. You can't. It's like, did anybody ever play Dungeons and Dragons? You remember the game Dungeons and Dragons, where you had the people in the dungeon, and it was like a fantasy game, and you had the dungeon master who controlled everything that happened. They had the power of God. So if your character walked into a cave, they could decide if there's a dragon in there and how big the dragon's going to be and what the dragon's going to do. Well, at the end of the day, dragon, the dungeon master can't be defeated, because the dungeon master gets to decide the reality of that whole situation. So think about this. If a white man had never selected Jemele Hill to be on TV in the first place, y'all wouldn't give a shit who she was. Y'all wouldn't know who she was. Some of y'all from Detroit would know her, because she wrote for another white institution, the Detroit Free Press, but y'all wouldn't care. So everybody who's up in arms about Jemele Hill being fired and all this other stuff, just know that's a fantasy that was created for you by white people. Some white man decided to hire her and make her important so that you would have a reaction when you saw her face. But they could do that with anybody. They could take Savvy 28 right off of here, right off of Instagram. They could take you, prop you up, make you the most seen Negro in America, and then suddenly Savvy 28, you become the new black leader. That's some hella power. You love Michi X. Yeah, Michi X is actually going to go live every night on Fly Nubian Queen. So I just talked to Michi X. Michi X is a bad sister. Y'all got to check her out. But anyway, I got to get back to work. I just want to say this real quick and throw this out there. And again, no disrespect to Jemele. Love Jemele. I hope and pray Jemele will go and get with some black people. If y'all really trying to fight this shit, pull together your millions and create your own damn online sports network. Just put some shit on YouTube and do some marketing and get some viewers, and now you got a network. That's what you do. Fuck ESPN. That belongs to them. That's somebody else's shit. Like, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna stop. I've been cussing a little more than usual. I don't know. Maybe I'm just mad. Something about being black that'll make your head explode. Just very frustrating. Like, you can't You know, you can't defeat the people who built the cage that you're living in. It just doesn't work. You can't be inside the cage and fighting against the cage at the same time. Like, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make any sense. All right. I'm going to go. Don't forget, All Black National Convention. That's our stuff. That's something we created. The All Black National Convention takes place in Philadelphia at the end of September. If you want to know more, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. There's also an option to live stream in if you want to do that. So go to allblacknationalconvention.com. Last but not least, if you want to follow me on text message, some of you have asked about that. I do send out text alerts sometimes when I go live. So all you got to do is text the word Boyce to 31996. Text the word Boyce to 31996. Now, somebody said, Boyce, you need to smoke one and relax. Nah, man, that's what you do. See, that's slave thinking. When you just think, okay, I can't change nothing, I can't fight. So instead of fighting, I'm gonna go smoke one and relax so they can keep fucking me. Like, you don't do that. You don't let people keep raping. You don't incapacitate yourself. I mean, shoot, if somebody gonna come rape you, why fight the rapist? Why not just take a Molly and some heroin and just go to sleep so he can have an easier time raping you? No, you don't do that. You fight back. Ain't nothing wrong with fighting back. So nah, man, I'm not gonna smoke one. I'm a fighter. You know, I'm not meant to be some passive Negro. That's not how I was built. That literally is a fate worse than death. You know, somebody said a long time ago, I think it was either Dr. King or maybe Tupac. I don't know. Tupac was repeating Dr. King. I have no idea. But he said, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. So some of y'all, you know, some black folks would rather just live on their knees, and that's fine. But I'm looking for the people that want to die on their feet. Dying is a glorious thing if you can die for a reason. Dying is the best thing that ever happened to you if you can die for something you believe in. Just keep that in mind. I'm out here, guys. Have a good day. Don't forget, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and all this good stuff. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.